All right, welcome to a Rare Breed podcast. My name is Avi, the host, and I have my very special guest with me, Alice. How's it
Thank you for
going?
having me, Avi. I'm happy to be on your podcast.
So the main reason why I asked you to be on my podcast was because I came across your TikTok of you talking about how you came from the far left
Mm,
and now you're like a changed person.
yes. 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 Well, the left, they start the children. So that's how it happened for me. They begin very young with the emotional manipulation. They make sure that all of the teachers and are on board with their agenda, and the teachers are willing to sacrifice they're supposed to be not personal. They're not supposed to inject their politics into the classroom. But the left knows that they can corrupt people because they control their emotions. So the Republican teachers, they're not willing to bridge the gap between, okay, I'm not supposed to say that, right? But the
Yeah.
liberal teachers are, because they're in a different kind of moral fight from us. They are wanting to help people because they think that they're oppressed and they have to save they have this twisted idea that America is evil, and that's what they're teaching children. But yeah, so that's how it kind of happened, is like the school and the environment and also the internet preys on young children, and it's all emotions. That's what I'm trying to say, is they don't convince you with logic. They convince you with nonsense. And when you're a kid, oh, nonsense, that checks out. But once you grow up, you realize, oh no, that's the left, all they have is emotions.
So you were indoctrinated basically from a very young age.
Yes, I would say the internet was the first step in the indoctrination. I'd say if there's any parents listening, don't let your kids have unvetted access to the internet. That can only go wrong. Can only go wrong. So the internet quickly radicalizes the youth. I think I have a great suspicion that there is an agenda, that this is not a mistake. It's not just that propaganda reaches the youth. I think that the agenda is directly targeting the youth and directly making sure that the youth have access to the phones and that they want to go online and all these different things. So there was so much political radicalism that I discovered online. And then the schools just kind of like, I remember reading all of this feminist nonsense and being a little skeptical. And then I watched a documentary in school, and it's like, I feel like documentaries play a huge role in making me liberal, and I didn't realize how influential a documentary could be. So I was a vegan, is because I watched all these stupid documentaries. But in the school, they showed me a documentary called Misrepresentation, and I thought, oh well, this validates what I think about feminism. And this teacher would have us debating about abortion and doing all these things that she shouldn't have been doing, right? We're supposed to be learning about literature and the Iliad and real books, not like. And then last year I discovered that the woman who directed Misrepresentation is married to Mr. Snake in the Grass, Gavin Newsom. So it's
Shut
propaganda.
up.
It's propaganda. So why am I being showed this propaganda in school? Why?
Wow.
Then it kind of validated it. And then I've always wanted to be an author. So I heard about a book signing of Ben Carson's, and I decided to go. And it was so crowded I couldn't get in, but I met the protesters outside, and they quickly latched on to me and got me to do their political biddings. And then once I met them, the radical, like, then it was like, oh, all of this stuff is being affirmed. And then these adults who believe these things, now that I'm an adult too, I question what their motives are and who's funding their little protests and nonsense. But like when you're a child, you have the media is telling you, yes, believe everything on the left. And then I met these adults who were also telling me, yes, it's all right, climate change is going to destroy everything, be scared of this, be scared of that. And really, they're the ones to be scared of, right? Because they want to take our liberties, they want to take our speech, and they want to take our guns. So we should be scared of them, but they're trying to convince us to be scared of everything. And then now we're all supposed to be scared of the tiny little microscopic virus that's going to come and kill us. It's going to come and kill us. You can't even see it. Okay.
Man, that's crazy. I mean, I guess what really like what was this group like? Like what did they I mean do to get you sucked in? What really like sucked you in? What was the essential ideologue that really like brought you in? What was it?
Fear.
Fear
Yeah,
for
fear for everything. You have to be fearful that the climate is going to end like that.
yeah, they're
You
like
are
forcing fear
supposed to
down
be,
your throat, right?
yes, yes. And it's like, oh, we are the only ones who know the truth. It's like a true cult. Like, oh, we know that the world is going to end and all these other people are driving their cars and living their lives, and how dare they do that when we know the truth, the world is going to end. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Like, so you have to be scared of the climate, and then you also have to be scared of all the bigots,
Yeah.
and then you go and actually meet the bigots, and they're not bigots at all.
Yep.
It's okay.
It's actually the complete opposite. They're like hypocrites.
Yeah, and the left, I think that they are perhaps a little bit more well versed in psychology, so they understand. I mean, like the people at the top, the people who are in charge of the propaganda and in charge of making sure that, you know, the message is spread, they're much more well versed in psychology, and like there's a dark side of psychology, and so what they're using is projection, and every single thing that they accuse the other side of doing is a confession of what they're actually doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's crazy. So what
So
I
then,
mean, go ahead.
yeah, so then I met these adults who were grooming me to go into protest, and then I was also an entry point for the adults to meet my friends and use them to go to the protest too. So
Yeah, so
yeah, I
it's
don't
like a
think,
ring. There it's almost like that trafficking ring that Epstein had going on where they just keep recruiting and recruiting and recruiting.
well, there's a reason that they prey on the youth, and there's a reason that powerful people are attracted to the youth, because they're so naive and easy to control.
Yeah. They're
Yeah.
very easy to manipulate. They don't know
Yeah.
what truth is. They don't even know the definition of truth.
Yeah, and then you also have to question, what is the point of the protest? Because you're just standing by the side of the road. First of all, you're distracting people who are supposed to be focused on driving. So, I mean, what is it really doing a net good for society? No, not at all. But what is the point other than creating a hive mentality? That, I think that's the motive, more than spreading the message. The message doesn't matter. The message is the message. The message is fear. The message is we own you, and you're supposed to submit to a hive like cult. You are not an individual, we are a collective. If a black person tells you that racism is the worst thing in the country and that this country should be hated just because of racism, you are not allowed to question that. Like, you're not only in the protest, you're not only asking other people to think what you think, you are already so far gone if you're standing as a collective saying, for all these different nonsense things like Black Lives Matter. Okay, so you're going to stand on the side of the road. What is that actually doing? It doesn't do anything, but it makes you accept that you're a part of the hive, and they want us in the hive so that we can stop being individuals. And when you submit to the hive, you accept a certain thing, that what is good for the hive is not always good for the ant. It's not
Yeah.
always good for the ant. You have to you it is, I think, part, I think what these leftists have is they have like self-harm on their side, and they try to find people who are, a lot of children have bad self-esteem, right? A lot of children are just discovering who they are, and when someone is discovering who they are, you could convince them that they aren't shit.
Yeah.
Then now their self-worth is also played into it, because the left relies on harming themselves. They are voting against their own interests. They hate the country. They want white people to not exist. Like, so it's all like, mm, it's not very uplifting.
I know.
Right.
That's crazy. So what brought you back? What brought you back to reality?
Well, it's a good question, but I would change the question, like, what made me realize I was in reality? Because I never left reality. I never went somewhere where the climate was gonna change the whole, like, where humans created the climate, right? I never went anywhere, I never left this world. So what made me realize that I was still in reality, that like the leftists, they have created this insane mind virus of fear that has infected the hearts of so many people, and they're trying to make them into cowards. So I woke up by being brave. I woke up by just like being brave enough to question what I was spoon fed to think.
Yeah.
And there's just so many things that woke me up because I live in reality. Like, I just simply live in reality.
So did you question almost everything along the process, or was it kind of just one day you were like, well, wait a minute, this all doesn't make sense?
No, it was just like years of
Questioning?
observing the world. Like, one example I could think of is I was on a farm and I was like working on the farm, and the owner of the farm was half black and half white, and this was during like George Floyd, and she told me that this Black Lives Matter is nonsense, and I was thinking, well, I thought that it wasn't, right? But then she started telling me that it is, and then I started thinking, hmm, right? And then you find out that George Floyd had enough fentanyl in him to kill anyone. So
Yeah.
okay. So it then I realized that you need to have a narrative. Like, that is the most important thing. That, like, when I was protesting for these people when I was under 18, one time they dragged me into the road. I had no idea we were going into the road, right? They dragged me into the road and the light turned green, right? And we were sitting in front of all the cars. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I have no idea what to do. Like, oh my God. And then, but they didn't get to tell me that we were going into the road, but they told a photographer to stand across the street to get a picture for their socialist newspaper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's the selective dispersal of information. You just can't, once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. So it took a long time to wake up. I think it's just slowly, I just slowly realized the truth. The truth is a power. You can't hide from the truth. Nobody can convince you that the truth is real. I think that people have to actually see the truth for themselves.
Yeah.
Everything, it just falls away. Like, when you scrutinize the leftist principles, there's nothing. There's
Yeah.
just nonsense. Well, I can make up nonsense too. I could come up with any random religion. But the thing about, like, because they're a religion, like, but I can make up any political party I want. But the thing about republicanism is it's the oldest party, right? So it is the founding principles of our nation. What do they stand for other than, like, what is there to stand for other than the founding principles of our nation? What do you want to progress to? What the fuck?
I
I'm
know.
sorry. Progress to where? I am not a sheeple. You can't lead me into the next pasture and promise me that the grass is greener over there. I don't buy it.
No.
Yeah, I don't buy it.
So jumping into your book here, because this thing is awesome and it's worth the read, I promise. I'm gonna tell everyone here. So when you read this book, you have to listen to like film scores to get like the full
Yes, take you far away.
So what are some culture shocks that you experienced in the Middle East that you couldn't share in the book, if there are any?
Oh, well, there's nothing that I couldn't share in the book, because the only reason this book exists, Take My Breath Far Away, is because I published it, right? Like, it's my own work. There's nothing that I couldn't put into it, but there's a lot that I chose not to put into it, because the premise of the book is adventure and courage and trusting the unseen. So I didn't feel the need to, I mean, there's nothing political in
Yeah,
this
no,
book.
I that's the one thing that I really appreciated about it was that you get to travel and experience all of this without having any crazy political agenda involved in it, you know?
Yeah. Even though at the time I was like, oh, crying about climate change. Oh my God, the corals. Like I cut that shit out. So I'm glad that I spent a lot of years working on the book, because if I published it like 5 years ago, or when I was like just starting writing it, then it would have been, oh, climate. And now I just can't read a travel memoir that doesn't have, oh, climate. And I'm so sorry for being white and for coming from a colonialism. Shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up. No one wants to hear it. Like, I just cannot deal with it. The whole publishing industry, they just want to. This is what woke me up more than anything. This is what put me just completely over the edge, was starting my business and doing market research and seeing that you can't write anything without these people who are masquerading as reviewers, masquerading as people who have a critical eye for art, and they don't see art, they don't see nuance, they don't see anything. They just strip it away and they say, oh, it said this word in the oh, who cares what it's trying to say? This is what it said. I don't care about theme. I don't care. They just tear everything apart. Well, if you come for Ernest Hemingway and you come for J.K. Rowling, you are coming for me. Okay, those are my idols. Fuck you. I'm not on board with this publishing. We are all going to agree to say the same thing and think the same thing. I am an individual and I will not go on with it. I will not go on with it. So nothing is cut off from the book. That's what I'm trying to say. But it is a critical lens of just courage, and it's not political. But yeah, the Middle East is a very diverse region. So I was in the United Arab Emirates and Oman. Um, I wish that I got to travel more. I wish that I had gone to Jordan. I would say if anyone wants to go to the Middle East, go to Petra. I wish I had gone there. Because that's a,
I don't
a
think I would be
wonderful.
allowed out there, right?
No, you probably would. Like, I went to the UAE. I had these like ideas, right, of being very far left, and like, I had short hair like I do now, so people would perceive me a certain way. But really, like, the Middle East is a very relaxed place. I would say, like, the vibes are very good. People want to drink tea, and I mean, like, and just sit around in the sun. Like it's a very relaxed atmosphere. I would think that you'd be fine.
Even in like Iran?
I didn't go to Iran, but I was just across the sea from Iran, and yeah, I don't know. Like, I really, I don't feel comfortable speaking for places that I haven't been, but from
Yeah.
what I've heard is that, like, and from the people that I've met. So that's the thing about the UAE is, like, 90% of the people who live there are not born in the UAE. So it was incredibly shocking, because it wasn't like I had just traveled to the UAE. Since I was meeting people, it's the true global melting pot. So I was exposed to so many different cultures.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's good to know because I was always scared. Like I was like, I can never go to the Middle East, because they don't like gay people over there. So I can't go there. I'll be killed.
No, I like the Middle Eastern mentality is extremely hospitable. Like, I think you would meet more people who would welcome you with open arms, and I would say that's true for, like, Asia in general. Is people are very welcoming. People, like, have an idea that a foreigner, like in India, there's a phrase that a foreigner is a god. A traveler is a god. You welcome them into their home like they're a god, because, and that's why I think that India is so powerful and so rich, because they've had travelers come through and teach them and tell them their stories all throughout history. Like, India is an incredibly diverse place, but they have this union of welcoming people. So I think that Asia is, I think it's really safe. I mean, yeah, I people have love in their hearts. That's what they don't want us to realize, is that, like, people are kind. I don't know about these people who their passport says a different gender than they are. I don't know if the visa agent is going to stamp on that and not ask any questions. But I think that the world is much more welcoming than we're led to believe. I think that it's the governments that are going to be the biggest barrier, more so than actual people. I mean, but you have to also have your third eye open and
Right.
travel, knowing that there are really nice people everywhere, but there are really evil people everywhere.
Yeah, and I've said that before too. I've said, like not all, like even about the whole Palestinian thing, right? I said not all of those Palestinians, like citizens, feel and think the same way that the Hamas group does, right? Because like they're totally different.
Mm-hmm.
You can't include every
Mm-hmm.
single citizen in, the hate crimes and the violence and everything, but at the same time, like they in my opinion they've allowed it to happen, so but they could be, it's a that's a whole different story. Sorry, I just changed the subject, but
No, you're good. It's the same topic because it's
yeah.
still about like collectivism. Like they want us to think that, oh, everyone thinks the same. Just because they're within these borders, they all think the same. But that's why the USA is great, because we're allowed to think differently.
Yeah,
We're allowed to be independent thinkers.
for sure. Love America. So what would you say to those women living in America who think that nothing is going wrong with women in the Middle East? Like, I know that, like you were saying, it is still nice, but there are places in the Middle East that don't allow women to walk out without covering their faces, and they
Mm.
don't allow women to, be out in public without a man present. And there are women that do believe that that's not even happening.
Hmm. Right, because they live in denial. They live in denial of their own reality. So yeah, of course they're able to live in denial of a reality halfway around the world. They have no concept of reality. But I mean, recently in Afghanistan, they made it so that women can't even speak outside. And these women here say, oh, I'm so oppressed. I'm so oppressed. They have to deny that in order to justify their own delusions.
Yeah.
Delusional people will do anything to stand up for their delusions. They will say, I don't care if it's cold outside, there is global fucking warming. This is their religion. They stand closer to this than anyone could stand to God. Like delusional people, they have to be so hostile to everything around them just to protect their false idol. Oh, the world's gonna end, and there's something we could do about it. Oh, gee, they've never like stepped back and realized that catastrophe has always happened. Humans have always had to deal with catastrophes. This isn't new. This isn't even a catastrophe. Y'all are pretending we're in a catastrophe, but you could look at history and see that we've had catastrophes and we have survived. Whatever.
Yep.
They could. I would say to those women that they've been severely manipulated and they're not free thinkers, and they they probably they would accuse us of not being compassionate for them, right? We're not compassionate to their struggles, but in reality they don't really know what struggle is. A lot of them, I'd
Yeah.
say that they're struggling to understand. They're struggling to understand reality.
And that's coming from someone who has seen and experienced different cultures. So, just for all
Yeah,
you
I
women
mean,
out there.
if you go to a lot of places in Asia, you won't see like women outside doing things. It's not typically women stay at home. Like typically women stay at home. This is reality in huge swaths of the world, and we don't have to stay at home. And
Yep.
people still want to say that they're oppressed.
Yeah.
If you're oppressed, if you're oppressed, how useless. If you're oppressed right now, how useless were you when we were Neanderthals? What you're so oppressed you don't want to go and dig out your tubers out of the ground today? You're oppressed by having to do anything? Like, no, this is like, this entitlement comes from our domestication. These people don't understand the ruthlessness of the world, and life isn't fair. I don't care if you think you're oppressed. Okay, a lot of us have problems. Like, life is not fair. I have seen a lion draw a zebra's blood. Did the zebra deserve it? Was it fair to the zebra? No, the world isn't fair. we are animals and we live in nature, and there are evil people among us, and they will not play fairly.
Nope.
So, oh God. It's this, like, they just don't understand like the fundamental principles of how the world actually works. They don't understand it.
No, people, I really feel like, and I've said this many times, people need to stop drinking the tap water.
Yeah. Yep.
So getting back to really quick on a subject about the book, in Africa, I was reading some of the stuff that you were dealing with the wildlife, like that, the leopardess. Oh my God, that part scared me.
Yeah, that part scared me
The
too.
wild, were you scared of the wild? Were you scared of the wildlife? My hands are sweating just thinking about that part.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yes, it did give me a lot of cortisol, I can tell you. Yeah. Well, I'm reading a fantastic book now. I mean, probably a lot of people listening have read it, Game of Thrones. And you haven't read it?
No.
I can't recommend it enough. I'm like, oh, I'm reading it so slowly because I want to cherish every single word. It's a masterpiece. But the little boy asks his father, can a man be brave if he's scared? And his father says, that is the only time a man can be brave. So I was fucking scared of the leopard. I was fucking so scared. But like, my instincts protected me, because my instincts told me, don't you fucking move a muscle. Like, I literally was not about to move. I could not move. There's not any force that man could create that could get me to move. Like, you couldn't put $2 million outside the tent and get me to unzip it. Like, there's nothing more valuable than your life, and your instinct to protect that is so strong. So yeah, I was so scared. But the thing with the leopard is that the leopard came to my tent, and I had the opportunity to move into a dorm, but I said, no, I'm sleeping in the tent. Like, if the leopard is going to hit me.
I was like, she is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
And to be out there alone, good God.
Yeah, well, I just have this special connection with Africa, and I had so much faith, and my faith protected me. The leopard protected me. Like, Ernest Hemingway was watching over me, protecting me. There's a lot of good forces in the world, and it's kill or be killed out there. But I trusted when the locals told me that the leopards don't go in the tents. So okay, I'm gonna trust that. Like, if I'm in Africa, I'm not paying $2 to go sleep in a dorm when I could have the elephants like touching my tent. Like I want to be in the fucking wild.
Yeah.
Well, I used to. That's how I used to be. I don't know if I would do that again, but that's how I used to be. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you'll get lucky the second time. So
yeah, I've learned that, I'm lucky, but it's best not to push it.
Yep.
Push the luck. Yeah.
Yeah, those are some of the best parts of the book, man. I'm telling you.
Well, thanks.
Like the underwater adventures and that tent part, really. I had my adrenaline going for you. I was like, oh my God, please, Jesus.
Yeah, that's what it was like. And like, that experience brought me closer to God. So I can't even look back and think, oh, that was so scary, I wish it didn't happen. Like, it happened to create me. And it also happened, like, to humble me, because, like, what are these leftists who cyberbullying me? Are they gonna scare me? No. I don't.
No.
Touch grass. Grass. You send a lion to my door.
Keyboard warriors.
Right. Like, these keyboard warriors. And the thing about the keyboard warriors, and the thing about any animal who is scared, is the most dangerous animal. That leopard wasn't scared of me. She was like maybe a little curious, but not scared.
Yeah.
If I scared the leopard, she'd attacked me. So these leftists, they operate on fear. That's why they are so aggressive. That's why they're so aggressive. My dog is scared of other dogs, so she's learning to be better. Like, the fear makes you insane. But that's how they want them. That's exactly how they want these people. Scared out of their wits. So the wildlife in Africa is incredibly diverse, and there are things to be scared of, but the scariest animal in Africa was the mosquito, and that's what almost killed me more so than the leopard. Um, I mean, that's a funny thing about fear is I was more scared like of there's the actual beast that's in front of you that you could see that is growling, but then there's also the annoying little fucker that'll kill you. That'll kill you.
Yeah, I try my hardest to stay away from those little bastards too.
Yeah, yeah.
Ugh.
Well,
Oh,
it's a good instinct to have to stay away from them. It's our instincts, and that is ultimately what the leftists do not want us to have. They don't want us to have instincts.
yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like they're slowly taking away instincts. Have you
Mhm.
noticed that? Like people don't have awareness. They don't have, like I
Yes.
I don't know how to describe that, but it's like they don't observe their surroundings enough.
Right. Not aware. Yeah. Well, they've got them right where they want them. And
Yeah.
their whole movement is essentially anti human. So, in order to make us subhuman, yeah, take away your intuition, your instincts, your ability to trust the weather around you, to trust the world, and to trust God. So, yeah, strip that of the man and see where he stands. Yeah, then he'll go vote for Kamala. Like they've got them exactly where they want them.
Yeah, it's fucking nuts what's going on, man. Gosh.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Did you study like the cultures? I'm assuming you studied the cultures in the Middle East and in Africa while you were there.
Yeah, and I've noticed that people are a lot more friendlier uh towards strangers. There's a lot more welcoming atmosphere. Um in general, I noticed that people are closer to God. I mean, I've met so many Malawians and Zambians and Tanzanians who I knew them for such a short time, and they really wanted to get across to me their message, which was a faith in God. And these are people who have nothing. Like, if you're listening to this podcast and you think you have nothing, shut the fuck up because you're listening to this podcast. You have something. You have
Yeah.
something that was stolen from Africa. I am recording this on a device with a lithium battery, and the lithium was mined out of the fucking Congo. So I'm not going to say that I'm oppressed because they're oppressed. So when people who have nothing, like they don't have running water, they don't have floor, they live in huts, they live in shanty towns where you can like there's feces everywhere, there's trash everywhere, everything is chaos, and they have more faith in God than the people in this country who have everything. And it just shows me that the materialism, it matters, right? It matters that if you have a clean, safe place to live, but there are things more important than materialism, and that's spiritualism. So the biggest difference between the USA and the other countries that I've traveled to is people are more spiritual in other places. Here, I don't know what's happened to our spiritualism or our patriotism. Like, people in other countries were so friendly to me because I'm a traveler, and they are proud of their country, and they say, I want this foreigner to have a good experience in Malawi. So this foreigner goes to Tanzania and speaks highly of Malawi. They want their country to be beautiful in the eyes of the foreigner. They will go out of their way. People will say, come with me. In Mexico, this man said, come with me, I will buy you this is the most best tacos. I will buy you 10 of these tacos. And no, don't pay me, don't pay me. I want you to love Mexico. But here, that would never fucking happen in the USA. That would never happen. People are not proud of this country.
True. That's not true because I went to South Dakota and they were so nice in South Dakota.
Really?
Yes. Go to South Dakota. I promise you, it is the most
Mm.
welcoming place I have ever been in my life.
So maybe I should say that would never happen in a city here.
Yes. In a fucking big city like Denver, no, they'll treat you like absolute garbage.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but like and then I would say that a lot of people really value people from the United States. Like there's a I understand that people see different people in different ways. People make judgments about people that they see, and like you people are always learning, right? So if you are a traveler and you are from a country, then people will try to learn about that country from you. So people, yeah, people have different perceptions about the United States, but I would say that most everyone that I've ever met has always said that they want to come here.
Yeah.
The poorer the country, the worse the person wants to come. That's what I've learned. So, and of course, because here, I mean, you could be the most destitute person in America, but I mean, there are exceptions, right? Like Flint, Michigan, but usually you can have clean drinking water. Like, even though we have problems, I mean, we don't have problems like malaria, right? Like that you don't have to be scared of the mosquitoes, right? It's our instinct to be scared of the mosquitoes, which is wonderful that we have our instincts, but they're not gonna fucking kill us. Like just the fact that they're not gonna fucking kill us means that we have it nice here. That we have it nicer than, what is it? 1 out of 5 people that have ever been born have died from malaria. So all these people, oh, I'm so oppressed. Well, you are not oppressed, because there are still people in this world right now that are at risk of getting malaria, and you're gonna complain, oh, I'm so oppressed. Shut the fuck up. Get a job. That's what I have to say.
Side note, so what are your thoughts on the
Oh.
sanctions that the Biden administration put on Africa because of the gay marriage?
Well, it's very sad, and it proves, first of all, that Joe Biden is going to have a tough conversation with his maker when it comes to be his time. And we will all face our time. None of us can live forever. And we're all going to have to answer to the things that we've done in this life. And there's no fucking way that you can justify hurting these people in these shanty towns. These rich bastards, they could justify not helping these people. 1 billion people in the world live in shanty towns. They could justify letting them live like that and letting their fellow man rot in this earth while they're living in luxury. You could justify that in your head, okay? But then he goes out of his way to harm these people because the US sanctions are nonsense. It destroys economies. And Joe Biden proposed this against Uganda after Uganda tried to protect its children from rape. That's too much to ask. Joe Biden threatened to put sanctions against them, but the truth is that sanctions are incredibly dangerous, and it can destroy the economy of an African nation. And it's just us throwing our massive dick around. And I don't approve of his actions, and I think neither does God. I think that threatening to hurt the poorest people in the world just for your moral purity, I think you're going straight to hell. And that's just one reason that I think God is ashamed of Joe Biden. Um, Not that I could speak for God, but just not that I'm morally perfect, but Jesus Christ, I think it's insane. And I think that you can look up activists, LGBTQ activists that come out of Uganda, and I think they're all plants. I think that
Yeah.
they're either being groomed, like I was groomed, or they've been paid to say these things. Because if you are an activist in Uganda, the biggest fucking problem is not LGBTQ. Like there are what what about malaria? Excuse me, this is not reality. Like my alarm bells are going off. You're an LGBT activist from Uganda. Well, guess what? Like 99% of Africans don't believe in that. So the culture does not allow that. So this is the culture that you live in. We all live in different cultures. Like
Yeah.
there and I don't necessarily think that it's totally wrong for Africa. I don't feel the need to tell other countries how to live, because
Exactly.
in Kenya, you have the Masai Mara, who are the last hunter gatherers in the world. Excuse me, not the Masai Mara. The people are the Masai, and the land is the Masai Mara. But they they have gender roles, and to force other countries to live in this genderless progressive dystopia that we want to inflict on the whole world, why can't they have their traditions? What's
Yeah.
wrong with tradition? Why are the progressives so anti-tradition and anti-history?
Have you seen that? So I actually don't like Matt Walsh, but have you seen his documentary, What is a Woman?
I have seen that. Yes.
When he
Yeah.
goes and he interviews people from Africa and he's telling them kind of like what we are dealing with every day. And they're like,
Yes.
what?
Yes, he interviewed the Maasai. Yes, well, what the fuck is anyone going to tell the Maasai people with their men when they turn 19? They walk into the woods and they get circumcised, and if they flinch, they're not a fucking man. And you're gonna say, no, shut the fuck up. No, like lives, they just like you cannot fuck with these people's traditions. This is where we came from. We fucking came from the Great Rift Valley of Africa, and you're gonna tell them that, well, maybe the women should go hunting. Well, shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up. Like we wouldn't be here if the women went hunting. We wouldn't fucking be here. They're doing things right. This is where we came from. This is literally, we came from this traditional landscape in Africa. And oh no, that was canceled. We're wrong. And I have looked at all the pushback that Matt Walsh got for this documentary. And all these people say, well, he's just cherry picking. He found the one tribe in Africa that is saying these things about traditional gender roles. Shut the fuck up. Why don't you go to Africa? Why don't you find all the tribes? All of the tribes. First of all, the Maasai, they are the last hunter-gatherers on Earth. There is not a better group of people that you could select to represent the natural state of human evolution. There's not a more archaeologically intact group of people in the whole world. And that's not good enough for the libs. That's not good enough. They say, I swear, there's people somewhere in Africa that don't believe in gender roles. There's ancient tribal people. Shut the fuck up. We would not be humans if these ancient people didn't believe in gender roles, even the pygmies. Sorry, I need to drink my tea. Oh my God.
Oh, that's all good. That's what this podcast is for. You let it out.
Oh my God. I would tell these people to go onto YouTube. There's a free documentary that you can watch that shows, I'm forgetting the name, but I'm sure if you Google Pygmy free documentary, you can watch Mbuti, Mbuti. This is a ancient group of people, and I'm saying ancient because they have their ancient traditions, and they're almost extinct now, or perhaps extinct. I don't believe anyone when they tell me something is extinct. You don't know what's in the impenetrable rainforest of the Congo. Shut the fuck up. So I bet there's Mbuti still out there. They're just smart enough to hide from us. So you can go and watch these people. The women build the huts. The women do the weaving. The women birth the children. The women take care of the children. The men fucking hunt. The men fucking hunt. That's why we exist, because our brains needed the meat to develop into this highly intelligent brain. We're smarter than dogs. We're smarter than dolphins. How did we become this way? It's because we cook our fucking meat and our men go out to hunt. That is how we became so smart. Okay, so you can go and watch these Mbuti people take down a fucking elephant. It's all on YouTube. And so watch that and then tell me that Matt Walsh's documentary got it all wrong. No, it didn't. It didn't. And I hate these people who say that this is the only tribe in Africa who thinks this way. It shows that they have not done one iota of research into African history, and they're willing to just spit on it, say there's stupid nonsense, and like, it just doesn't add up. It doesn't add up when you look at the facts and the way the world works. It is how the world works. Lions have gender roles. The females nourish, they hunt, and they protect their cubs, but they don't protect their land. The man protects the land. Even lions have put their duty, and now we're supposed to think, oh no, that doesn't exist. And of course, there are exceptions. I'm not saying there aren't exceptions. Humans are smart. We can think about what's best for us. You're a security guard and you're a woman. Well, of course, there's exceptions. I don't fucking care about exceptions. Like, what? The whole world needs to change for the exceptions? Then that wouldn't make them exceptional, would it? No, dude, I could just go on and on.
My favorite part is when you're like, shut the fuck up.
So there's one more thing I want to say about Africa, and I'm going to like. There's a Chinese saying, "Confuse them with their own bullshit." So here you go. Here's an NPR podcast that all the libs need to go listen to, and it's coming from NPR, and it's a podcast. They have a subcategory of podcast called Mistranslation or Lost in Translation, and one of them is interviewing women in the Congo. And this is how the world works. This is how the world works because the NGO was sent to a city or a village. I can't remember where it was. I think it was in the DRC, the Democratic Republic of the Congo. They sent an NGO there, and the NGO offered rice to women who were raped. Now,
right. I thought you said rice. I was like, what?
Rice.
Rice? Like
Yeah.
the food?
Yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. They offered rice to women who were raped. So if you know how the world works, you know that, well, this woman's going to get rice and she's going to feed herself. She's going to feed her baby. And her friend is going to say, how did you feed? Where'd you get that rice? Well, I went to the NGO and I said I was raped. Oh, so the friend now goes to the NGO and says she's raped. And the UN article or podcast, excuse me, exposed all of this. And I'm supposed to believe the liberals want me to think, this is what they want me to think about Africa, that every single gorilla has been categorized by scientists, and the scientists can tell me that they're almost extinct. And they also want to tell me that every single woman is being raped all the time in the Congo, while they're creating an economy of giving food to starving people who say that you're telling me that I'm supposed to be crying every day and giving you money, funding your stupid shit. No, fuck. No, I can't do it. I would say if people actually want to help Africa, like the best thing you could do is donate mosquito nets and try to find a place that donates only mosquito. Like that's it. Like I think that's one of the best things that you could do. And like nothing is perfect. No good deed goes unpunished, because when you buy a mosquito net for someone, it's treated with insecticides, right? So what happens if that person is starving? They're going to use the mosquito net to go fishing, and now they've poisoned their water source. Yes. So everything has a downside. Everything has a fucking downside. So all these libs, they want to go save the world. They think they're so smart they can see the whole fucking world. My advice to you libs, go read the Tao Te Ching. No, if you were master of the world, you could not make it better. No, the world is perfect. Just shut up and accept it.
Yeah. And quit poisoning us. Like, quit poisoning the world. And in my opinion, the governments of the world, all governments of the world, are poisoning our world with toxic chemicals. That they, especially in America, okay? They put toxic chemicals in our water. They put toxic chemicals in our food. Everything that grows from the ground at this point that is manufactured like big time is all poisoned. So, I mean, everything we consume is poison. I'm surprised. I mean, I guess I can't say this because there are chemtrails, so the air is even poisoned.
Yes, but we have certain powers as the population. We don't have to think of everything all the time as being poisoned, because what is the worst thing for your immune system is fear. So if you're constantly thinking this water is poisoning me, well, guess what? Water knows what you're thinking. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's not crazy, because you can research this. Water crystals materialize differently depending on the vibrations around them. If you're thinking everything is poisoning me, the water crystals, this is tea, but it's still water crystals essentially, and it picks up on your frequencies. Your heart and your brain send out electromagnetic frequencies 6 feet away from your body. I mean, and if you can, but that's for normal people. I'm telling everyone that you can wake up, you can become more aware of your body, of your spiritual powers. You can sync your brain wavelengths with your heart wavelengths, and then your electromagnetic frequency can wrap around the whole world. Okay, so all you libs who want to save the world, shut up, work on yourself, and do yoga.
Yoga. You know, it's funny. My wife does yoga all the time.
That's good.
Yeah, she loves it. And I was scrolling on TikTok and I stopped on this video. She was talking about yoga and how yoga was like the devil's work. And she started laughing. She was like, well, I do yoga.
Oh yeah. Yeah, mastering your mind is the devil's work. This mind that God gave me, and me finding perfection in asana and finding perfection in the yoga. That's demonic. Shut the fuck up. No, shut the fuck up. This is no, this is and the same people who tell us that are gonna come and cry their little tears about colonialism. Well, guess what about colonialism? You know why you're fucking parroting to me that yoga's demonic? Do you want to know why? It's because the British said that when they colonized India. Duh.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh my
Because
gosh.
when you practice yoga, and this is a huge part of how I woke up from being a lib. When you practice yoga truly and honestly, you develop something called siddhis, siddhis, and these are supernatural powers. So the reason that the Brits wanted people to stop practicing yoga was because it gave them more intuition. It gave them us, like, really, you can't control someone who practices yoga. You can't.
Yeah.
Like, who actually truly practices yoga and is a master of their mind, body, and breath. No, you can't control them because they will start having bravery. You cannot truly form the warrior poses and not develop bravery. If you're not becoming braver from your yoga practice, you are doing it wrong. So yeah, like it's all part of control, and yoga is also the pursuit of individual perfection. It is not a collective pursuit. It is one-on-one, you and Shiva. And I mean, Shiva's the least woke deity in the whole world, so the libs really separate yoga from its gods, but that's a whole other tangent. Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. That's great. I thought it was great when I heard that about yoga. I was like, well, my wife is a devil worshiper then because she loves yoga.
Yeah, I mean, we can't allow the right to become a purity spiral just like the left.
Yeah.
Because then what's left of it? Like,
So, how many languages did you have to learn on all these travels?
well, I am only fluent in English. At other times in my life, I've been more fluent in other languages, but it comes and it goes. If I was immersed in French, I could remember it very quickly, but right now I could hardly speak French, but I did learn a lot of French in French Polynesia. I learned a lot of Arabic while I was in the UAE, and I learned a lot of Norwegian, but I've forgotten most of it. I
Can you
learned a lot of
read it?
Spanish. Spanish is very. Hmm?
Can you read it?
Oh, I could probably read it better than hear it for sure. Um, but that's kind of how my mind works. Is I'm way better reading with languages specifically. It works better in my brain that way. But I learned French like from a young age, so I think that's probably my strongest language. The only place I've been that speaks French is French Polynesia, and there it's a lot easier because people speak very relaxed. Like it's an island, like it's not like Paris, like,
Yeah.
and people are way nicer than in Paris. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I mean, I did go to the Paris airport, and people didn't like me. You know, it was like they like you have to speak the perfect French. But in French Polynesia, it's like, yeah. And they roll their R's. So it's like bonjour. It's like totally different. Um, yeah. But Spanish is the most useful one that I've learned. But I've also learned that like it's all different. And like what's like the lingo in Mexico is not the lingo in Puerto Rico. Like it's really hard to learn languages. And yeah, so but the thing is that if you're traveling now in this century, like it's so fucking easy. You could just download Google Translate and you're able, like, you could be in the middle of nowhere and have no service, and before you get on the plane, you're able to download the language of the region you're traveling to, and then you're able to instantaneously translate anything. Like, we have more access now to learning about the world and talking to people than ever before. So that's my advice to anyone who wants to travel, is like, yeah, learn the languages and study, and like while you're there, really try. But you can translate, Google Translator, and download the language. You could go off the grid and still communicate. Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, they even on TikTok now, they even have those weird little earbuds that are translator earbuds.
Oh my god, no. No, they want to get us closer to their transhumanist agenda. They want us to become robots. I will not merge with robots. No, 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 no.
Sometimes I joke around and I'm like, I wish I was a robot so that I didn't have to worry about eating, sleeping, shitting, or cleaning myself.
Or emotion.
Yeah. Oh man. So what are your thoughts on the left today? Like as it stands right now?
I think it's a fake religion where they worship fear. Well, maybe it's not even fake, because it seems like there are worshipers, there are people who believe it. So yeah, I mean, I would say that anyone who's a leftist, if you're a leftist and you're listening right now, just stop being a pussy, stop being scared.
You're so great,
world
man.
is not
I'm telling
going
you,
to
if you
end.
lived here, we would be great friends.
It's not going to end, and the world has ended before. So to all the libs, I would say, forget the news cycle, unplug. You are lost. You need to get grounded, go read mythology, because the world has ended before. Shut the fuck up. Like, it's ended before. Like, and the thing is, like, we don't, when you live in fear, you are welcoming misfortune. Like, I'm sorry, I want people to wake up so we can all collectively have a hopeful future. Like, it doesn't have to be like how it is now. Like, with everyone is so scared, and the left, I mean, they think that they're progressive, but I mean, progressive is not a virtue. It's not a virtue. I would say to all these leftists, like, you need to learn about human tradition. And this is why I say practice yoga, practice real yoga, like with real tradition, and study archaeology, study ancient civilizations, learn who you are. All of these leftists are so easy to control because they have no idea who they are and how powerful it is to be a human, how intelligent humans have been, how long we have been intelligent, how informed people were to make technologies that we cannot replicate today. In India, there are carvings, and people always say, our carvers do not know how to make these today, but they've managed to survive in sandstone for centuries. So yeah, what do we make today that will last? No, all these leftists, shut the fuck up. Make something that will last. Stop tearing shit down. Learn where you come from, and learn the values of the world. Like we can all work together, but we don't have to be a hive. We don't have to make Africa accept gay marriage for the whole world to get along. We can we can come together as one, but individual wants. If you do not have to make somebody think like you. So I've said all this shit in this podcast. People don't have to agree what I'm saying. In fact, you are welcome to think independently. This is just my experience. This is just my story. You have your own story. That is what makes the world beautiful. That's what makes the world beautiful. But the thing is, we're all humans, and we all come from these ancient civilizations, and before that, we came from hunter-gatherers. So that's where these libs need to start. They need to start with the hunter-gatherers. They need to go onto YouTube, watch that Mbuti documentary, and then talk to me about, oh, the life isn't fair. Well, life wasn't fair for the fucking elephant, but we have to eat. The life goes on. The life goes on, and you can do it with honor. There's no dishonor in hunting the elephant. There's no dishonor in the lion killing the zebra. In fact, I would argue that as humans and as spiritual humans, we are able to harvest our food, and maybe we harvest animals, but we are able to harvest it in a way that is more respectful than the way that the lions do it. Like, we don't have to be so bloody ruthless, right? But we still have to honor who we are, and we eat fucking meat. So,
Yep.
I mean, it all goes together. It's all about controlling people with fear. And like the climate change is just like trying to get people to eat bugs, shut the fuck up, not own anything, and plug into your little sheeple hive mind and blade, like, right, to slaughter. So, I mean, the thing is, why would you trust someone who tells you the climate is changing when they're fucking seeding the clouds?
Right. Oh, I couldn't have said it better myself.
And it's not a conspiracy. It's real. In the United Arab Emirates, they seed the clouds, and they just had a flood that is worse than any in recent history, any since the city of Dubai became Dubai. Yeah, and it's not because of the cloud seeding, and it's been confirmed by a ton of liberal news outlets that it's not because of the cloud seeding. So I'm sure they're right. I'm sure. I'm not gonna ask any more questions. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Bleep.
So, what are your thoughts on the media and how they play a huge part in how fucked up things are right now?
Well, I am a publisher, so I am in the media, right? So I can look at it. I can put myself in my enemy's shoes. The media is my enemy. The mainstream media, they're my enemy. So I can put myself in their shoes. And like, as a publisher, I want to make money, right? I know that certain things will make me money. If you are streaming the news or writing articles, people will click on it. People scroll through the headlines, right? You're just fighting for their eyeballs. You have really very, very small value to offer, and you need to get their little hormones triggered, the little cortisol going when they see the headline and they click on it. So they operate on fear, right? As a publisher, I offer bravery and stories of bravery and accepting the way the world works and things like that. But that's not what the media is offering. The media is offering, and they're doing this because it is so profitable and because it is so effective. They're offering fear porn, essentially. Like, it's always a catastrophe, and the world is always going to end. Donald Trump is going to destroy the world. That's what they want us to think. They want us to, and it's like, okay, because I don't remember, right? I'm a goldfish. I don't remember what happened 4 years ago, right?
Yeah.
No, the thing is that the media, they're not just Democrats. They are demon rats. And the thing is that our opponents, they're not only evil as they're demons, but demons pose as angels, right? They pose as this trustworthy news source, right? This is their, right, like it's a bluff, right? Because we are in the wild, we are in nature. We are not domesticated. We are still fucking humans. We are not robots yet. So they literally need to bluff, like the way that I bluffed against the wildebeest, right? Like, oh, act like I'm bigger than I am, make all this noise, right? Wildebeest, we're gonna fight. No, we're not gonna fight, wildebeest. And wildebeest, you're gonna win. So that's how the elites are with us, the population. They want the population to be in a state of fear, right? So they create the media. It's all nonsense what they produce. They'll take anything out of context. They never let facts get in the way of a good green dollar. And I mean, then I start to wonder, is their motivation even money, or are they after something more powerful? And the powerful thing is control of the masses. And the media is multi-pronged sword. It's like they've penetrated not just the media, but everything surrounding the media, and then they use the media to elevate every other interest group they're invested in, like every author, musician, or actor, or false idol that's going to parrot their message and tell people not to think and not to ask questions. So they are attacking people from every possible angle they can. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't work. The truth always wins in the end.
Well, I mean, we would hope so. You'd hope so.
I know you're going through it right now with the struggle for the truth in Denver.
Oh, dude. I mean, and it's even worse because, like, if you actually call the governor's office, right?
Mhm.
I wish I would have recorded it, but I've called the governor's office and I've asked,
Mm.
so what's going on in Aurora? Can you give me like any kind of statement? And they literally are like, I'm sorry, we can't answer that right now. We're not allowed to give that kind of a statement. Okay, so you just answered my question. Thank you. Because I asked him, I said, so is the governor going to do anything about what's going on in Aurora? Is he going to tell the police that they have the okay? And she was like, I'm sorry, I can't answer that. Yeah. And that's why I've said everybody should call the governor's office. Everyone, please call Governor Polis, his office, and ask them, what is he doing about what's going on in the state of Colorado?
Dreamers and Aladdin's looking for bread to feed their family. That's it. Nothing else to see here, especially
Yeah.
not for November. That's what they don't want. Right?
That's what I said. I made a video about that. And the first one actually got the sound taken away on TikTok. So I had to remake it at second one and use different wordage. But yeah, like
Huh.
they're not doing anything about it in Colorado because they can't. It's gonna look terrible. Like, I mean, if they call in the National Guard right before elections, they're losing the election. 1000%.
Yeah.
Just last month, maybe it was like a few weeks ago, actually, that Tim Walz, well, maybe it was like a few weeks ago because it was just recent, but he was supposed to come to Colorado Springs. So he was in Colorado not very long ago. So, of course, they're not going to do anything about the situation because it's going to cause a scene.
Well, our enemies are playing chess, but they're they don't have the best intentions. It's crazy to think that these people can make peace with their God when they do such evil things. It's crazy to think that anyone who has sworn themselves to protect the people, so fucking cheap, so easy to buy.
Yeah.
Fuck, it's nuts. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. These fucking, I mean, and honestly, at this point, it's both sides, right? Like, I
Mm.
mean, for the longest time, I believed that Republicans were trying to do the right thing, but just in the last 4 years, it's very, very clear that the Republicans are just as spineless and
Mm.
disgusting as the Democrats. There's a lot of,
Yes, yes. I mean, there's so many Republicans who are not real. Like
yeah, they're bought and
they
paid for. They're
right.
actors.
Nothing they say, nothing they do aligns with the fundamental values of republicanism. And they can call themselves Republicans. Okay, well, I'm a fucking fish. Like what?
You know
You're
what I
not
want you to
Republican.
do? I want you to look up, go ahead and look up like all of the politicians and who represents them. So
Mm,
like I guarantee you a lot of politicians and just the same as actors, they're all represented by the same company, which
mm,
is CAA.
hmm,
Yep. It's an acting company. It's like a big corporation that deals with agents for actors, and so like everyone from
mm,
CNN, everyone is represented by CAA, and Joe
mm,
Biden is represented by CAA. Hillary Clinton, um, what's her name? That girl, what's her name? AOC. She's
mm.
represented by CAA. They all are. They're
Oh,
they're
jeez.
literal paid actors.
Yes. Well, it's so much of what's going on is exactly like Rome when Rome was falling. I mean, it's a theater. It's all a theater.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't forget less than a month ago when they rolled out AI Biden and told us all to believe that's the president. When, okay, I'm not supposed to believe my eyes, that's AI. Oh no, it's the president. We're streaming from the White House. Shut the fuck up. No, you're not. That's AI. I'm not stupid. I still have eyes. I can
Yeah.
still see. They want us to not believe what our eyes see. And they want us to be, because, oh, it's the president. No, it's not. It's not.
I
Sorry,
am
it's not.
thoroughly convinced, like, this is just my opinion, okay? So don't get your feelings hurt, social media. But I believe that he's already done gone. Like, he done gone, right? He's gone. He's no longer with us. And I
I mean,
think that
it's
it's like because they've created some crazy little robots, right? I believe they are trying very hard to make it seem like he is alive just until November.
You're not trying hard enough. Try harder. Try harder,
Yeah.
losers. I can see the truth.
Yeah, because I mean, I've seen the videos and like I watched it. Like the height difference. I was like, well, okay. Normally, old people shrink; they don't get taller. Old people shrink. So,
He's
huh?
having post-COVID symptoms of a growth spurt. No, they'll just fucking make up anything, and the sheeple will believe it. They know they've got him hook, line, and sinker. Like, fuck, it doesn't. They will believe anything. They could show us Joe Biden doing a backflip with AI, shooting a gun at a bald eagle, and tell us it is real, and people will believe it.
Yeah.
Right, like there's no limit to like the circus relies on tricks and deceit and shock value and oh, look over here while we're over here, and it's all a fucking circus because not no one stands for anything. The only thing worth standing for is this country that is protecting our god-given rights. And no, your right is to murder your baby. Haven't you forgotten that? What? What the fuck? That's my only right? That's my only right? Okay.
Uh, that's the only thing that they care about when it comes to women's rights.
Oh, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And how many Democrats voted for the changes on Title IX? Right, man? Yes. So feminist. How am I more feminist than the feminist? I'm not a fucking feminist.
Yeah.
Oh, it's crazy. Woo.
These fucking feminists, they're the worst thing to society right now.
Yeah. Well,
It's
they just
modern
don't
day
understand.
feminism.
They don't understand the way the world works. They're not grounded. They're just little dandelion tufts floating in the air, easy to drift this way and that, and they have nothing is rooting them to the ground. Like they're gone. They're gone. The feminists, they're gone. They left. They outsourced their thinking way back 10 years old. Like it's hard to wake them up. I know because I was one. Like they're delusional.
Delusional.
Yeah.
So what exactly changed your perspective on this country?
Oh, that's a good question. Hmm. I mean, there's so many things, but I would say that something that changed my mind. I mean, like, there's a book, it's one of my favorite books. It's called Shantaram. And it's just so beautiful. I don't want to spoil it. I want people to read it without any idea what would happen. But I will say that he is in jail and he's in an Indian jail. And it's so corrupt, so blasphemously violating human rights, so horrible, and horrors beyond the comprehension of the feminists who cry and bitch. Like, seriously, horror. And the only way he gets out is like knowing the right people and paying money. So that kind of showed me the value of, I mean, our justice system is not perfect, it's so not perfect, but that showed me the value of having a speedy trial, like what that actually means, and why the founding fathers created this country with the right to a speedy trial, and why we have liberties. The reason that we have liberties is because human liberties have been violated so many times in history. That's why our country is created the way it is, to protect our liberties. And that's the main thing, is what makes this country great is our freedom. Like, it sounds so, like, the libs, they don't even believe it. Like, they don't even understand that they're free, and in other places they're not free. Like, you can get locked up without a trial, like, for years, right? Like nobody cares. But yeah, they have a lot of delusion, and a lot of the delusion is from being sheltered, and they're intentionally sheltered, right? They don't want us to know how the world works. They teach us how the opposite of how the world works. How the world works, well, you should hate America, pay the federal go in debt to the federal government to go to a state funded college that still requires a fuck ton of tuition, and learn how to think there, and learn how awful America is there. And a huge thing that woke me up was learning history and realizing that slavery was in no way unique to the United States of America. And you'd be hard pressed to find a country that has never had slavery, and has never shed blood, and has never been conquered, and has never been invaded. Like, where in the world can you go to this perfect place where the leftists would be happy? They say they hate America. Okay, well then where do you love? Where has no one invaded someone else? Where has there always been peace? Show me the place.
No, you can't. And
No.
I've said that too. Like, history is ugly. Like, it doesn't matter where you look. History is ugly, and throughout history, there's always been conquest. That's what got us where we are, is conquest.
Exactly. And slavery was not invented by white people. It
No,
wasn't.
there's
And
still
white people,
slavery going on today.
oh yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And white people have been slaves. So
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Like, they want us to have this like black and white view of the world, when the world is incredibly nuanced, and the world is also incredibly ruthless. And now we are living in a civilized society, but it has in no way always been like that. And it does not have to stay like that either. Just because we're in a civilized society now doesn't mean we're going to always be in a civilized society. We have to protect our civilized society while we still have it. Because once it becomes an uncivilized society, you'll find that it's a lot harder to protect, and it's a lot harder to get it back to a civilized society. But
Exactly.
yeah, yeah.
I don't think people realize that. Like, and like, I've even heard people talk about anarchy, and like how we should live in anarchy. And I'm like, you really want to live in anarchy?
Yeah, they do, because they don't know, they don't have like practical knowledge of the way the world works, and like the fundamental influences on our lives come from nature, and nature is eat or be eaten. If
Yep.
you're in anarchy, you're going to be eaten or you're going to eat. And all the people who want anarchy, they couldn't lift 50 pounds, and they want anarchy. Okay, yeah, good luck. And they don't want guns. Okay, yeah, sure,
Yeah.
good luck with your anarchy.
It's crazy.
No, and they drink almond milk, and they haven't eaten meat in 5 years, and they want anarchy. Okay, who's going to milk your almonds? Fuck.
He's gonna milk your almonds. You are great, I swear. What age did you start paying attention to politics?
Well, politics is so saturated in all aspects of like entertainment and
It is now, for
education.
sure.
Yeah, I feel like it was that way when I was growing up. I definitely can look back on what I was consuming, like in books, in television, and see that it had like a total motive that was not entertainment and telling a good story. So yeah, I would say that for people to be suspicious of things that don't ring true, certain things ring true. If someone is trying to invent a new truth, it should be scrutinized. Like, there are stories that make sense, and it's because they relate to like human evolution and where we come from, and this idea that any empire can slip into chaos, any empire can be overtaken. There are usurpers, there are people in the world that are searching for power and they're hungry for it, and those who have power must always be willing to defend it, otherwise they don't have any power. So these truths, they're evident, but when like you see this like media that's trying to get, oh, everyone to be a collective, and like it doesn't work, it just doesn't work, but they're pushing it as if it works, like give up your individual liberties, give up your, first they get people to outsource their thinking to the media, and then they're damaged forever because they, most of them don't wake up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's over. Like if you once you start down that, path of, well, the media wouldn't lie to us and the government wouldn't lie to us, it's
Yeah.
over. There's no hope for you. Like I could show you point blank right now, this is what happened, and they're gonna be like, no, I don't believe that.
Yeah. And the thing is, they would not be able to show us an article that does not have preconceived notions. Like, I'm supposed to go into this 500-word article, right? You can't write more than 500 words. Are you kidding me? These professional journalists, what are you? Like, a chatbot? So you want me to go into this 500-word article and agree with all of your presuppositions because it's a hive mind. Like, they want me to go into this article and already agree that the world is going to end in 50 years and half the country is going to be underwater. But like, really, who? I don't agree with that. Who with their head screwed on right actually agrees with that? Who? Like, none of these leftists who think that way, who think that the world is going to end, they're not actually like healthy or stable. They don't actually like do things for themselves, because you have destroyed, not you, but the media has destroyed their hope. And when you take a man's hope and you instill fear into his heart, I mean, you've just created a coward. Like, they don't even have the bravery to nurture themselves. Like, then they become weak, then they become easier to control, and like you say, they keep drinking the tap water.
Yep.
Yeah.
What age did you change your mind? Like what age did you actually like decide, okay, I think I'm gonna change my political views?
I would say that I woke up from like the socialism and the radical, you're oppressed, around like 19 is when I started waking up. But then when I was like around 25 and starting my business, that's when I realized, like, oh, like you can't just be like independent and moderate, because these fucking rabid crazy people are gonna come for you. Like they're gonna come for you. They're gonna come for you. And you cannot operate as a business like civilly with these people, because they will do everything to cut you down just because you don't agree with them, because
Yep.
they're a colony of ants, and if you are not marching to their beat, they'll fucking rip out your guts. Like, that's what they do in ant colonies. That's what they'll do to us. Like, because I mean, what really pushed me over the edge was finding out that an author can work her whole life to get a publishing contract and then tweet I love JK Rowling and get dropped by the publisher. No, it's like, it's impossible to respect an industry that behaves so like totalitarian. Like, yeah, so that probably like 25, and then they say that's when your prefrontal cortex develops, and I think that that does have a large part to do with it, because like, if you read my book Take My Breath Far Away, you'll see that I was reckless and I did all this dangerous stuff, and
Yeah.
then I turned 25 and I realized, oh, like the things are going to shit, and and I don't want to do this crazy reckless things anymore. And the fact that like we have these people under 25 voting, and I mean, like, they're voting and they're voting recklessly because they do everything recklessly, because I know what it's like to be that age. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And I'm not saying, oh, they should lose their right to vote, but it's just how it is. And it just shows up in the demographics because they're voting for progress. They can't even tell what they're progressing towards.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. I mean, uh, like I agree, that the young generation might be putting us in danger by voting stupidly, but I mean, like when I actually started voting at 18. I'm 35 now, and I registered at 18 as a Republican. Like
Hmm.
I knew at 12 years old what was going on. And I knew that like we were going to go in a really bad direction. Like in
Mm.
2009, I
Hmm.
was very vocal about my opinions on Obama and what he was going to do to our country and the direction that he was going to push us towards. And I was 120% correct. Everything that I said that Obama was going to do, he did. And everything that, you know, he did, it led us to where we are now. Like we are so
Hmm.
divided. The country has completely fallen apart because of everything that Obama did.
Hmm. That's interesting. That is interesting. Hmm.
You know
Interesting.
what book I want you to read next? You have to read this book by Dinesh D'Souza. And it came out in like, I think it was like 2009 or 10, maybe it was 11. Um, but it's called Obama's America 2016 or something like that. And he
Hmm.
predicted in that book everything that was going to happen from his reelection in, what was it, 2008? No, that was his first election. His reelection was 2012, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. That was when that movie, he made a documentary, but he wrote the book first. And that book, he literally describes, he predicted what Obama was going to do in his reelection.
Hmm.
Fucking did it. And it's even worse because Obama put him in jail for that movie. Obama put Dinesh D'Souza in jail for producing and publishing that movie.
God. Oh my God, that's why I'm scared of Kamala gets in. We're gonna go to jail for this podcast.
Yeah. Try me, bro.
Yeah, that's scary. But the thing about Obama is he's a pussy. He's not a real leader. He's not
No.
a man. He's not like if we were lions, he'd have no bitches in his pride, right? Because he can't defend them. But now we have this like totalitarian, illusory grab for power, and he's a puppet, and there's people behind the scenes. But the thing that makes him the most cowardly man is that he was the leader of this country for 8 years. Then he's handing over the reins to Trump, and he tells Trump, "Our biggest threat is North Korea." Then Trump gets his ass over to North Korea and makes peace with them. Meanwhile, Obama's media puppets are, Trump is so bad for doing this. And it's like, well, you could have done it. Like you were in the seat of power. You were the king on the throne and you didn't do shit. You were just cowering like a little bitch.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah,
our
she's
country,
literally stealing all of his shit now.
that's the reason they don't want Trump to be in office because he's brave. We're not supposed to have brave leaders
Nope.
because then people might be brave. No, they want us all to be cowards. Like, yeah.
They want us all to be sheep and just follow the line. Don't say anything. Don't go out of line. You just shut up and you do what we say.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you step
Cool.
out of line, that's racist.
Yep. You will own nothing and be happy about it.
Yeah.
So what would you say your political stance is today? As you're wearing a MAGA hat?
Yeah, I'd say I'm a moderate. I know the haters in my comments don't think I'm a moderate, but they're the true radicals. Like I don't think it's I don't even think it's a I'd call myself a Republican, but people change the definitions of words all the time. I'd call myself a Republican, like part of the grand old party, like part of the people who care about the Constitution. That's like my fundamental principle. And I see that in Donald Trump, that he just wants to protect our founding documents in the Constitution. And I don't think it should be controversial to say that like our borders closed like every other country in the fucking world. Like I don't think that should be a radical belief. I think that the fact that they've turned that into oh, it's racist. It's racist if you want the border to be closed. I mean, that's great for them at controlling their voter base. I mean, come on. You won't ask questions if you think you'll get bullied for being a racist. I mean, they've already got these people thinking that they should be guilty and give money to other people just because of the color of their skin. I mean, what else can they get them to believe? I mean, they got them to believe all kinds of nonsense. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
They,
I'd say I'm a moderate, I guess, but I'm a Republican, but I think Republicans are moderates. We're not the ones who are changing every single definition. Like I think that conservatism is being a moderate because I want things to stay how they are. Like I
right. Because I call myself a conservative. And for me, the definition of conservative is I want to protect and preserve the Constitution. I want more freedoms and, less government. I want
mm,
more freedoms and liberties and less government. Like I want less taxes. I mean, in my opinion, taxation is theft. You're literally stealing my money. It wasn't even supposed to be a permanent thing.
oh no, 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 no. That's one rabbit hole that truly never ends. That
Yeah.
yeah. Yes, certainly. Yeah, well, they want us to think that there's nothing worth conserving.
Yeah.
I mean, but there is. I mean,
But
if there's
you just have to read the Constitution. Like
yeah,
I literally have it in my man purse because I have a like fanny pack man purse and I carry it everywhere I go. My Constitution. It's my pocket Constitution.
that's not yeah, and the Declaration of Independence and
Uh-huh.
I mean the Bill of Rights. We have these things for a reason, and the reason is that like in history, humans have been systematically oppressed, and like this is our protection from oppression. The thing about these libs is they cry all the time about oppression and oppressors and all of this, but now they have the opportunity to vote for a populist and oh, he's racist. Okay, so you don't actually care about the elites. Like if you refuse to vote for Donald Trump, you don't actually care about oppression. Like I know I say that like we aren't oppressed compared to people in Africa, but the thing is that the elites are in power and we have to protect our power. If we let the elites gain more power, we can't give them more power. That's the whole point of being a constitutional conservative Republican. But they want us to think that those are like extremist positions. Like they're not. Like
Yeah.
yeah, and it's scary the way that things are going with the ability to manipulate people based on their emotions. I think that like this has been the plan for a long time. I think it's the whole reason they got women to vote is so that they can more easily manipulate the voter base. I mean, there's so many things that they've done to set it up how it is. We need to like wake people up to realize that it doesn't have to be that way. We don't have to like have blind, maddeningly fast progress. Like one thing that I like is that some people are standing up to the progress. Like Ron DeSantis in Florida, he outlawed meat grown in petri dishes. He outlawed it. And that's wonderful because like the states that don't outlaw it, they're going to make it economically impossible eventually for their cattle ranchers to compete. And like what is going to happen when they destroy all the cattle ranches, when they destroy all the grassland? They tell us to not support cattle ranches. Don't buy beef. Don't buy milk. Do you know how much the cow farts? Well, do you know what will happen when they turn the grass field into fucking cement? Do you know what will happen? I mean, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
When they build a cricket laboratory on top so all you sheeple have your little fake protein? Oh my God. With no fat? There's no fat in a cricket. Grow up, sheeple.
You know what's crazy about that is just this morning. So my wife has this plant. I don't know what kind of plant it is. I really don't. And I'm not gonna get it down to show you, but she has this plant, right? And she had taken off a piece and put it in another pot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it started to sprout. And we put them in our spare room, and our spare room is like empty and it's full of like all of our moving shit right now. Well, it was in there. It had plenty of sunlight. We were watering it every day, or every time it needed water. But it was like dying. It was dying for no no reason, right? And so she immediately pulled it out and put it in the living room. And it like within 24 hours, right back to life. It's thriving now. It's like growing. And I looked at her and I was like, do you think that that plant knew that there was no actual living organisms around it and it died because it was alone? I think that the plant was like, I'm alone. I need living organisms, whether it be animals, humans, bugs, like it needs to be around life.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, there's a true intelligence to plants that we're all supposed to ignore. I mean, like the leftists, they want everyone to be vegans, and they they don't understand that the plants have feelings too.
Yeah.
Everything that is alive has feelings. I know they didn't teach you this in your biology class because they didn't teach you shit, but the plants can communicate. The plants, they don't even need to have their roots touching to know there's another plant there. They have done research. I mean, however much you trust research, I don't need research to tell me what is common sense, but plants can see each other, right? And of course they can, because if you're in a rainforest, they're all reaching for the sunlight. The plant, the sunflower looks for the sun every morning. I mean, come on, of course the plants can see. Just because they don't have eyes doesn't mean they can't see. Everything is alive around us. We're supposed to believe life is only as aware as the scientists can see, only as aware as the scientists have come to the conclusion of. Well, that's just not true. Everything is alive. Even fish are so much smarter than the scientists have any idea, and there's no way to measure it because they only predict things that are measurable and repeatable. Well, guess what? That's not the way the world works. So you're trying to sell me on this religion that denies the existence of the way the world works. And then they say, science isn't my religion. And I say, then why can't you question it? And then they lose it.
That's great, actually. That's a really great way to put that. Why don't you question it?
Yeah, and like the thing is that these people who are obsessed with science and they would give their lives to science, they'll give their arms to science and let them inject anything they want. They trust science more than they trust their own instincts. And they can't even tell me who Socrates was. Well, Socrates believed in God. Science wasn't his God, and he created science. And then they'll go, oh, well, MSNBC told me that Socrates didn't create science. It was someone else. Okay. So you're going to believe that without looking at any primary source. But that's how they do everything. And that's how science hoodwinks them.
Yeah.
I mean, they took this beautiful idea that Socrates had and changed it to do their little deceitful tricks.
I did not know that. See, you learn something new every day.
Yeah.
So who was that again? What was his name?
Socrates.
Yes,
and like he did not deny the existence of things that were self-evident. And now they're using science to tell us not to use our own logical reasoning. And science tells me that your anecdote means nothing. My anecdote is my fucking life. So if my life means nothing to science, then science means nothing to me. I don't need science to tell me what to think and to tell me what to do.
Yeah.
So Socrates was a student of divine geometry, and divine geometry, it's like why I have this periodic table on my arm. It's like there is something around us that is more intelligent than us. And it's this respect for this higher power that Socrates had. And that's how he gained enlightenment. I mean, Socrates went to Eleusis. Like, if you go down that rabbit hole, that is a whole other facet of his divine connection to the great unknown. And now they're using science to say there's no such thing as the great unknown because the scientists haven't proved it. Well, how about the first scientist? But they don't like tradition. They don't like things that happened a long time ago. They want to tear down everything. They say, well, Socrates, they tell me Socrates doesn't know what he's talking about. Okay.
And you do?
Yeah. Hundreds of years later, I know his name. Yeah, because he doesn't know what he's talking about. It's like, no, the haters, they make me laugh. Like, oh my god, they make me laugh so hard.
Yeah, people are, I mean, society is just laughable at this point. Most of society, not everyone. There are some really smart people out there. There are people who have definitely they have more than common sense because at this point I feel like common sense that's not enough. You need more than common sense.
Mm,
I I
it's
don't
more
even know
like
what
you
that
need,
word would be, but it's more than common sense.
yeah, you need the courage to defend your common sense because people are trying
Yeah.
to take it from you. They're trying to insert their fake common sense, their ultra progressive transhumanism. You're gonna become a robot one day. I mean, don't you know that that's what you're on this earth for? That's their common sense. Like this collective, what do they want? They want to eat bugs because the cows fart too much. And well, if you don't believe that, well, we're gonna get this 16-year-old autistic girl to cry at the UN. Okay, so why don't you believe it now?
You're talking about what's her name? Greta Thunberg or Thunberg or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, okay, okay. Ooh, well, cause she cried and she's some emotional 16-year-old woman. I'm gonna change my okay. Fuck. Oh, that's more important. What about the science? Hmm? No, they don't actually
No,
care.
when it comes to science, it only matters when it came to the pandemic. Other than that, science doesn't matter. Science only mattered
Hmm.
when it came to that.
Well, science is a great way to get people to feel fear. Like,
Yeah.
like we were talking about the like scientists, the way that they work. How do they make their money? How do they make their money? I don't pay that. Like some people pay to read studies. Like doctors, they're subscribed to these databases and they have these annual fees. And veterinarians and all these people, professionals, they can pay scientists like that, but it's not enough. It's not enough because the scientists, they're whores. They need a lot of money to be bought. And so how do they get money? They have to get the public on board. And the only way to get the public on board is to control them through fear. So they told us for decades that all the silverback gorillas were extinct. There's less than 1,000. There's less than 1,000. And there's acres of thousands upon thousands, hectares, thousands of acres of impenetrable rainforest. And you're telling me you've counted every gorilla? Okay, then some guy went and found 5,000 gorillas chilling in the middle of fucking nowhere. And now the scientists are like, oh, did they return the money that people donated? All the people that they fear mongered and got to donate? No, they don't fucking care. They don't fucking care. They say that everything is extinct. Trust us. We're the scientists. I've been in the wild. I know that the wild runs from people like you. People like
Yeah.
fucking you who like what I'm supposed to believe you. You went and surveyed the whole ocean. You went and surveyed it with your motorboat that scares away every fucking living thing. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Like, I cannot be deceived by these people. They said that coelacanths were extinct. Well, guess what they found in South Africa? A coelacanth. So shut the fuck up, man. I can't deal with this. Like, oh, everything is extinct. Be scared forever. And then with your trembling, fearful hands, give us your money.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. No, life finds a way. Like, I used to be so scared. I used to think, oh my God, I'm seeing the last corals. All the corals are going to go extinct because of Donald Trump. Shut the fuck up. That's not the way it works. Life will always find a way. And if it's not strong enough to survive whatever's coming up, well, then it's going to die. And that's the way it works. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If that's just the way that it works. But you can't kill all the life in the ocean. The ocean is alive and it's full of God's creative spirit. Okay, you can't make that extinct. But yeah, I mean, the rabbit hole never ends.
I know. I know.
It just goes forever, forever. But yeah.
I think I'm actually going to title this episode Shut the Fuck Up. Oh, it's going to be
God. No, but it's like seriously shut the fuck up. It's like shut the fuck up because like they're convincing people who have never said, and I'm talking about every single conservationist who wants to run their fucking mouth. No, shut the fuck up. Because when I went to Africa, I was brainwashed, and I was brainwashed by like, okay, when I was traveling, I gave up my vegan shit because I wanted to experience culture, and culture is food. So I let go of that shit while I was on the road. And but I still had my preconceived notions in my animal rights bullshit. So I thought that trophy hunting is bad. Trophy hunting is so bad. It's the worst thing that could ever happen. Well, guess what? The people who say that have never set foot in Africa. They don't know how the economy works. They don't understand a hunter's perspective. They are so delusional, so controlled by their emotions that they are like projecting their virtue onto the world without knowing how the world works. Well, trophy hunting is actually the way to save African wildlife, because trophy hunters don't go out and kill every animal in the bush. It's not how it works. If that was how it worked, every animal would be dead. It's just not how it works. You kill the old male that is already reproduced. That's what you kill. Like there's people who do unethical hunting in Africa. They drug lions. They have tourists come and shoot them, and it's not wild. It's not safe. But that's no reason to get the rest of the world to bend the knee and comply with this PETA horse shit. So where I was in Africa on a wildlife reserve, it was big, but it wasn't big enough for lions and like very like high predator traveling species, but we still had sable, giraffe, ungulates, and things like that. And we had a typical fence. And so there were hunters who were ready. They had the cash, they wanted to pay to shoot this old bull sable. And he was already disconnected from his herd and basically ready to die. And if it was any other circumstances, if there were still lions in the area, they'd have killed him and eaten him. But the hunter was not allowed to come in because of the NGO that was part of the trust. Oh, the NGO, the heart-throbbing, bleeding heart liberals in the NGOs, they did not want to allow the trophy hunt to occur. So for the reason of not having the trophy hunt, we could not afford an electric fence. Okay. And then months later,
yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that about trophy hunting. I thought it was bad.
no, it's extremely economical. It's like one of the best ways. It's one of the best, most non-invasive ways to give money to like wildlife reserves in Africa, because you don't have to traffic a bunch of tourists in and out to get the money. Like trophy hunters would pay more than 100 tourists, and like it's selective. It's not like let's go kill everything. It's just not like that. But people are so against trophy hunting that like I was part of a darting process, like moving a zebra to a different reserve, darted the zebra, and then I took a picture. Well, I didn't dart it. Okay. I was part of the team. I did not shoot the dart. But then I was helping with the zebra, right? Because you have to like when it's anesthetized, you have to hold up its head and stuff. And I had posted these photos online of me holding the zebra and these libs that I used to be friends with. How dare you? How dare you? It's not even dead, you stupid bitch. Where's the bullet hole? You've never shot anything. It's you come and cry. You cry that I'm trophy hunting. This animal's alive. But that's how sensationalized it is. That's how far they are removed from logic. So because we didn't have the electric fence, poachers were frequently coming in. Most commonly poached organism, trees. Then people were also hunting the animals. So because there's no being electric fence, a female sable who very well could have been pregnant was killed by poachers, suffered this horrible death. Like seriously, like the poorest people in Malawi are the poachers. They can't afford guns. Okay, this animal had a horrible death, and it could have been prevented if we had just been allowed to kill the bull. This animal could have reproduced and made more sable. Like it's so backwards. The whole way that they think is so backwards, because it's like, who are you to tell people in Africa that they can't trophy hunt? You've never been to Africa. It took me 2 days to learn that trophy hunting is actually good. All the people I met there who are actively trying to protect the wildlife, they're like, we need trophy hunting. We need the income. No. They're more worried about getting, it's just like publishing. They want the money from the bleeding heart libs more than they want to stand by the truth and like to sell to the hunters. Like it's like the libtard money is more valuable than the real money. Like the other money. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's crazy. I did not know that about trophy hunting. I'm actually really happy that you told me that, because I was one of those people that was like, "Oh my god, trophy hunting." You know?
Yeah, and all these people who've never shot a gun in their life were saying, well, we have to cancel Ernest Hemingway because he was a trophy hunter.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, because it's because they're not brave. Like, they're not brave enough to like walk in the bush like Ernest Hemingway would walk through a hippo's den in the middle of the day. These libtards would never do that.
Yeah.
Just fucking do that. Like, God. And
All
then
right.
like
So my last question here is what are your thoughts on how the border situation has been?
hmm, well, the the border is exactly like what happened in Rome. Like, it's the key to our downfall. And it's bad. It's not good. It's not good what's happening. And I mean, people, beware of people who try to convince you that to be scared of everything. Be scared of everything in the world, but not people who burn their passports as soon as they cross the border. Okay. I should be scared of everything else, but not that. Do you know
Yeah.
that they burn their they come in, they're on a terrorist watch list, or they know that they're not getting a visa, they're not here legally, so might as well just burn the evidence. They needed the passport to fly into Ecuador where they could get the visa and then go on this human trafficking trail all the way to our southern border from Ecuador. It's disgusting what's happening. It's disgusting. And the level of yeah. So we used to have illegal immigrants coming from Mexico. Then they normalized that through literature and propaganda. And then once that's normalized, oh, why not take it a step further? So now they have this like trail essentially that goes from Ecuador all the way to the southern border, all the way. Yep. And people come from every country in the world and go and land in Ecuador to try to get into the United States. Every country in the world. And then I'm supposed to believe that every person is a really nice Aladdin who's trying to feed his family. That's the only reason he's ever committed a crime, is to try to feed his family that he left at home in Nicaragua. But he's here to feed his family. Shut the fuck up. It's not true. So true. No, economic migration is a real thing. And like, if you look at a place like Dubai, 90% of their population is immigrants,
Mhm.
but they're legal and working.
Yeah.
That's why it works. And their police don't put up with any fucking shit. And they don't get let out of jail just because of the color of their skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
what
I've
the
said that too. Like there you can go to any other country in the world. Any country in the world, and they will not let you in illegally. You cannot go into another
yeah.
country illegally. Why the United States is the only one allowing it right now, I don't know.
Yeah, why are we refusing to deport people? Well, I think the United Kingdom is kind of getting to where we are with the
Yeah.
normalization of it. Yeah, I think so. Well, I do want to say about the immigration is that there is a problem with crime, and there is a problem with like letting unvetted people into your country. There's a reason no other countries do it. But a big problem that nobody talks about is the diseases that people carry. Like, yeah, we have something called the Anopheles mosquito that is present in, I think, every state in this country. And that's the same mosquito that can carry malaria. So it just takes one person to introduce malaria to the mosquito. Okay, now we have malaria back in the United States.
Shit.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a huge problem, I think. But
Oh, you
yeah.
stressed me out.
Yeah, well, it is a possibility. I mean, it is a possibility. There have been outbreaks of malaria in the United States in the past 5 years. There have been several outbreaks, and they cover it up. And they also don't want to provide us with the services that we need to identify and treat malaria. No, I mean, if you're listening to this podcast and like, yeah, I mean, Elon Musk got malaria and went to his one of the best doctors in the world, and he almost died because
Yeah.
they weren't smart enough to figure out he had malaria. Okay, so the people that are handling the malarial outbreaks in the United States, they have no idea what they're doing, and I mean no idea what they're doing. And they also have make sure that our cities are overrun with homeless people. And guess who's going to spread the most malaria?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a big problem with the border, but I think it's all intentional, and it's why they don't want Donald Trump in office,
Yeah.
because he'll fix the border. They need the border open in order to destroy the country.
What do you think the alternative is? Like, what do you think the motive is to destroy the country? What is the end result?
Well, the motive, of course, is if you have power, you have to defend the power. And if you are a kingdom, other kingdoms will want your kingdom. It's how the world works. Like, I don't think that we can all exist in these countries and somehow human nature is going to be foregone and people aren't going to want to conquer their neighbors. I think that there's a great possibility that the weakening of our country is an exterior force. Like, I mean, come on, just look at who lobbies our congressmen.
Yeah.
Just follow the money. I mean, like, these people have no morals. They've been bought, sold, paid for, ka-ching, ka-ching. They don't stand for the country. They only stand for, putting us in danger. It's essentially what they're doing. I
So
mean,
who do you think the outside foreign entity is? Who do you think that could potentially be behind a lot of shit going on?
hmm, I fear that if I do say the name, the podcast might be banned.
I know, right?
Hmm. I fear that it goes without saying. Just look at the number two biggest lobbyist in the country. Number two. Number one is Big Pharma. Who's number two? I mean, come on. I mean, but I think that part of it is because, like, the libs, they obviously create problems so that they can try to get people to vote to solve the problems that they created. Like, they know that their voter base is not questioning anything. So they
Yeah.
cause the inflation. Oh, we're going to fix inflation. They cause the open border. And now, as soon as they know that people might vote to protect the border. Oh, we're going to clean up the border. Like, they're just like smoke and mirrors. So why do they want to destroy the country? Yeah, it could be an exterior force, and it could be several different exterior forces. I mean, like in Game of Thrones, you don't have a kingdom without other people wanting the kingdom. It's just human nature. I mean, you can see it in, maybe it's even mammalian nature. You could see it in orcas. You could see it in lions. You could see it in any group of mammals that works together. I mean, even if they're solo mammals, even tigers defend their territory and want to expand their territory. So yeah, it's hard to say, but they do want the country destroyed.
And they're doing a damn good job at it right now.
Oh, it seems like you're facing the front lines of it in Denver.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, it's terrifying here. Like people actually think that I'm like over exaggerating and I'm like, "No, dude, like I've physically seen some shit."
Oh my God.
Yeah, like I've
Sorry.
seen an entire group of people break out in a fist fight, like brawling each other in the middle of an intersection in the middle of downtown Denver. And like you can't honk at them because they could either bombard your car or, like something worse. And you can't get out and interfere because you could end up getting your ass kicked or dead.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No,
So
it's scary.
everybody's just stuck sitting in their cars watching this entire group of people fight each other in the middle of an intersection.
Yeah, and you call the police and
They're not going to do anything. They're not going to
they've
show
been
up. And by the time they
defunded.
show up, it's over.
They've been defunded on purpose. Let's defund the police and let the third world into our country. And if you say that the third world is coming in, you're racist.
Yep.
Duh. And it's like, okay, come on. Like, fuck. Fucking, it's insane. It's insane what they're doing.
Yeah, Colorado is definitely the brunt. And for the longest time, because this has been happening for a few years, it's not new. Like, that's what I want people to understand, right? Like, yeah, it's finally gone viral. Like, what is happening in Colorado is finally getting out on the internet. Thank the Lord. But this has been happening for a few years. It's not new.
Hmm.
The residents that have been here for a few years, they know this is not new. And it's just
Hmm.
gradually getting worse. And I was saying to one of the sheriffs last night, like regular American citizens that are criminals, they're noticing that criminals, illegal or not, they're getting away with crimes because the cops, they're not doing anything.
Yeah.
And so that is also creating chaos in the
Well,
city.
aren't you a
Just
sanctuary state where if they do get arrested, they're not allowed to report it to ICE, that they're undocumented?
yeah.
That's fucking treason. It's treason.
Yeah.
Fuck. Fuck, that's fucking treason. No, we're not being racist. I don't care what fucking color the people are. I don't fucking care. It's like literally anywhere else in the world. You don't have a visa in your passport. You don't even have a passport. Goodbye. You're
Yep.
done. You're done.
You go back.
Do that in Singapore. You'll get the fucking cane. I mean, come on. And why? It's because they don't want us to have strong leaders, because they don't want us to believe in authority. They don't want us to believe in authority because they want us, like, we do believe in authority, but these false idols, there's no true strong leader. That's why they are like, oh my God, Donald Trump just stood up in front of the crowd looking like a hero. That's why they're so scared, because they try to give us these, like, no, what's the one thing a leader should do? Protect his people. What?
Mm-hmm.
We're just opening the border? What the fuck? What the fuck? No, it's like, and the rabbit hole never ends. It goes on forever. When you start looking into the border, you realize how evil the people are who are doing this. Like, they are truly evil. And all these feminists want to say, oh, I'm oppressed, and they vote for open borders. Guess what happens to women who make this trek to the border? You think it's sunshine and daisies for them? You think it's sunshine and daisies? You think when they get raped, they could report it to anyone? No. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? No, it's insane the amount of rape that goes on with people coming up to the border, and we're supposed to ignore it. We're supposed to be feminists, but not those kind of feminists. It's like, what? Doesn't even make sense. Doesn't even make sense. Because then what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to protect women and children. Why do you want women and children coming over the border illegally? Women and children should have a safe place to be. They don't need to be trafficking over a fucking border. What the fuck? No, it's the same thing with, like, everything. You're just supposed to ignore, like, the bad sides of it and just say, oh, it's good. Like homelessness and sex work and all these things. You can't say that these have any negative consequences. You can't say that, oh, I want better for people. No, we're supposed to fucking rot. That's what they want.
What they want.
Yeah.
Back to, you will own nothing and be happy. I'm gonna say that forever because that's what they want.
It is what they want. It is, man. Yeah.
Well, you know what? This has been one hell of a good fucking interview. I am so happy that you were able to do this with me. It was a lot of fun. We've had a really good conversation.
Yeah, thanks for letting me, get all this off my chest.
Anytime you want to come on here and vent and bitch and say shut the fuck up, we will do it.
Shut the fuck up. One last thing for all the liberals who made it this far. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. That's it.
It's gonna be the title of this episode. Shut the fuck up.
Oh, that's great.
You are awesome. We are gonna definitely have to do this again.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have to go live on TikTok together and really stir shit up.
Fucking 2 seconds in, I'll say something I shouldn't say. I'll see one fucking comment. I'll say, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. I'm not milking your almonds.
I'm not eating crickets.
No, cows are evil. Shut the fuck up.
Farting.
No, it's like people are so far gone from, like, what it means to be a human. Like in Tanzania, in the middle of nowhere, I'd be on this bus, 8 hours into this bus ride. I've seen nothing but trees, maybe 3 trees in the middle of this desert. And then there's a man walking barefoot with his line of cattle. Yeah, okay, he's evil. His cows are farting. Shut the fuck up. How long would you survive in the desert, you weak bitch?
Right? I think I said it in one of my videos. I was like, because I was watching the news and I heard them talk about the like carbon emission tax that they're charging in the UK because of the cows farting. And I was like, seriously? Cows have been on this planet for hundreds of years. they've been farting on this planet for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Yeah, in the Ice Age, weren't there fucking mammoths? You think a mammoth doesn't fart more than a cow? What the fuck? No. They live in denial of history. They live in the denial of natural history. They live in the denial of political history. They cannot handle the truth and the way the world actually works. They are allergic to the way the world works. It's no go. It's no go. Work hard, get rewarded for hard work.
No, I don't want to work. I just want it handed to me.
I wasn't put on this earth to work. Well, nobody told your ancestor who was pulling tubers out of the ground for 4 hours a day and then nursing her baby and then weaving her fucking what? Shut the fuck up.
Oh my God, you're great.
But it's like people have the opportunity to create things and instead they choose to destroy. But we can spread the light of awareness and choose to show people that you can create things and not be like, we don't have to be scratching the earth. You know what I mean? We can create.
I feel like, I mean, in reality, society's not capable of creating anymore. I mean, we've got men that are literally sitting there playing video games instead of being out there using their fucking hands and their brains. They're using their hands and their brains to watch a television screen, not build something or create something. We don't have men anymore.
Yes, it's true. And you could see it in architecture. You could see it in art. I want every modern artist to shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. No, artists are supposed to be talented. I'm sorry if that's offensive. But it's not. It's not. It's been true. Hey, it's okay. Come here. It's my dog. She's okay. Like, who needs to shut the fuck up? I'll tell them to shut the fuck up. That's what she's saying. Yeah, but like the modern artists, they like everything. They removed hard work from everything. You don't need to work hard to be an artist. No, just piss on a canvas and sell it for 50K. That's not the way the world works.
I was joking around with my wife. We were walking through Target and there was this like painting that had like just a circle at the bottom and then lines going towards it. And I was like, I could fucking do that. I'm not going to spend $50 on a piece of paper that I could have made myself.
Yes. No, it's because they want us to forget what beauty is. This is an art piece. I spent 9 months working on this sheet of paper.
Oh, I can't see it. It's just a galaxy. There you go.
There it is. Yeah, but that's art. And I'm not trying to be like self-aggrandizing, but this is art not because I made it, but because I put time and effort and hard work into it. You cannot have art without hard work. Do you think these marble carvings look like they could come to fucking life? Because the carver didn't want to work. He wanted to be a live and get paid for nothing. No, that's not the way the world works.
Yeah.
So, and money talks and bullshit walks. That's the truth. Anyone who tries to tell you different is a failure and a loser, and they don't understand anything.
Yeah.
It's just the truth.
That is the truth.
Yeah.
So do you sell your art?
But they want us to.
Do you sell your art?
Yeah, that piece is for sale. It's quite expensive. It's for sale on Asclepius.press, but it's the cover for my book. So if somebody wanted to have the art, it's like my publishing company always has a very minimalistic design. So this cover, it only has title and name of the author in very, very small print. And it's supposed to be just like magical for you to see it. There's no lines in this. It's all tiny dots. So,
oh wow, yeah, that's all tiny dots?
Yeah, all tiny dots and watercolors, but all the black is tiny dots.
Wow.
Yeah. But that's the value of hard work. You can't have shit if you don't work for it. I worked to make that. Like that's the way the world works. the
Yep.
world works. It doesn't sit on its ass.
True that. Well, you'll have to send me a link so that I can put that in the description so that way people can go check out your books and your
Okay.
art and all your good stuff.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Sure.
I really appreciate you for taking the time. We sat here for 2 hours. This is the best interview. I mean, I don't mean this in like a disrespectful way. I love all of my guests, but this is the best interview I've had. So
Oh, thanks. Well, thanks for having me. This is my first podcast.